of these videos. I know that my channel is really devoted to Myers-Briggs, but I'm feeling really called and compelled to talk more about spirituality and New Age things. Like the age of Aquarius, I really feel is, like, I really feel that we are on the cusp of it with this presidential election and everything. And if you didn't hear, Melania Trump, she actually walked out to do a speech a couple days ago to the song Age of Aquarius by Hair, which I thought was, like, incredibly eerie with everything that's going on in, you know, our culture shifting, our technology shifting, the way we think is shifting, everything is shifting. And I really want to be a part of peace, and I really want to play my role, whatever that may be. And so I wanted to just share a little bit about my spiritual journey, what I believe, what experiences have led me to where I am now. So I have always been a very skeptical person in a lot of ways. So, you know, I really just don't like to just believe anything unless I've seen it for myself, or unless it, like, really makes sense, or unless I've ruled out other possibilities. I'm not someone that likes to keep my head in the clouds and daydream and wonder about possibilities that aren't valid or viable. So something that I guess I really want to share, or something that has kept me from wanting to share in the past, is that I don't want people to view me as not intelligent or not thoughtful for coming to conclusions that seem so out there and so crazy. And because, like, for example, like, I believe in astrology, I believe in one consciousness, I believe in the law of attraction, I believe in the power of each individual person, I believe in the power of the mind, I believe in telepathy, I believe in psychic gifts and visions, and I believe in that you can predict things in your dreams. I believe dreams have meaning. I believe in the power of synchronicity. I believe in all these things. I believe that we're entering a new age where the world as we know it is going to be completely, like, different. I believe that I believe in that we have multiple lives. I believe in life after death. I believe in that not everyone has the same path. That it's not just reincarnation over and over again. There's not like one way. I believe that you should never choose one way. I believe that any spiritual practice or anything that you believe, if you're able to experience it on this 3D plane, then there's something to it. Not everything's created equal, but I really don't condone, like, my way is better than your way and that sort of thinking. I don't believe in scarcity. I believe in abundance. I believe in the power of collective thought. I believe that there are a lot of beings right now, a lot of human beings that their soul has never been on this planet before, and they're here now, this generation, to help awaken and help bring this new shift. Some of those might be from alien, like, you may have lived most of your life on an alien planet and have come here. Maybe you've been on Earth before and came back. And this sort of goes hand in hand with the idea of indigo children, which I believe in auras, by the way. Indigo is just a specific color of aura. I believe in the chakra system. I have felt it. I can tell that there are different vortexes within the body. I can go into more explanatory things another time, but I guess my point is that a lot of this on the surface seems a little crazy, a little weird, But think of how many scientific discoveries that have been made that seem absolutely crazy. Like that the world is round when we always thought it was flat. Now, I don't think like science can really ever prove, at least not right now, these sort of esoteric topics and these sort of it doesn't exist in the sensory world, so there's no way to test it. But that doesn't mean people can't experience it. People have spiritual experiences, and just because you can't test it doesn't mean that people can't prove it. Doesn't mean that it can't prove itself to you, like it has proven itself to me. And that is just as valid of a reason to believe in something. You don't need numbers to back you up. You need to be thoughtful though. You should not just believe something because you hear it. You should not just believe something because you want it to be true. So, like I said, I'm a very skeptical person, and it took me a bit to accept this. It's taken me a bit to even share it. But I think it's important. I think it's very important, and I think it's important for people to understand that the world is abundance, not scarcity, and their minds has power. So all of my friends that I see on Facebook and Twitter talking about how depressed they are and trying to pretend like there's no problems, it makes me sad because they are self-deprecating again and again and again, and all you're doing is digging a bigger hole. Now, I relate to being depressed. I relate to feeling like I have no one, and I relate to feeling all the weight of the world on my shoulders, and that's one of my main, like, psychic senses is the empathy, is when you feel someone else's emotions as if it is yours. I relate to feeling like an emotional sponge like that, but that doesn't mean that we don't have the responsibility to build ourselves up. So I hope that if I start to talk about this topic more, that maybe people will start to take more responsibility and realize that their thoughts and their minds are powerful. You can create good in this world, and you also can create bad in this world. But, it's only as good or bad as we call it. We can decide to look at it in whatever way we want. We really have a lot of power. We all have the power of God within us. So, sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. But so, I guess my journey is that I was raised Catholic and skeptical, but never really felt God, but never questioned that there was something bigger. Like, to me, it seemed weird to think that it seemed weird to think that there would be no God and that people just die and that there's nothing. It would be like, well, what's the point of all of this if there's not something else? Like, it's harder for me to wrap my brain around the fact that there is nothing than there is to wrap my brain around the fact that there is nothing. Or than there is something. It's easier for me to think that there's something. Now, for the longest time, and still currently, I really believe that it was not the human's job to figure that out. I believe that it was the human's job to live a good life, be a good person, and it doesn't matter what happens when you die. It doesn't matter about the cosmos and why we're here and all that. Because it's not our job, because we're stupid humans that are never going to truly figure it out. Now, I totally agree that we still should not freak ourselves out so much trying to figure out everything, because we never will. But I do think that there is some value with discovering that side of yourself and connecting with that greater side of yourself, that higher self. And because if you can do that, then you'll be happier and you'll live a better life, because you'll be doing what you came here to do. And you won't be flailing around wondering, like, what the fuck you're supposed to do. Because if you can loosen the veils, if you could pull back the veil, if you can sort of make that barrier between you and everything else a little smaller, then it'll be easier to tap into collective consciousness. It'll be easier to tap into God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Like, I still am a little adverse to the word God because there's so many different connotations that honestly creates a very masculine, personified, angry guy, like human being that is not what God really means. And that's what sucks, is when someone uses a word over and over, it begins to lose its original meaning, and the original definition of God is not in the way that people use it. And so I guess I sort of came to this because I started to conclude in college that all religions are equal paths. And I started to read more. Okay, Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch is a huge, huge, what am I trying to say? Influence. He has a huge influence on me. And this guy, he wrote a lot of books, and he like heard a voice talking to him around, I think, the late 90s, early 2000s is when he would channel this. And they were all just sort of saying, like, hey, it's me, God, and you've got me all wrong. You think I really give a shit about, like, gay marriage? You think that's what I care about? No, I want you guys to get along. And that is exactly, like, that God in that book, that was a God that I wanted to know. And that God in that book reminded me of instincts that I would have in my being, and reminded me of thoughts that I had about the world. And so it encouraged me to tap more into that, and made me realize that if that guy could hear God, then why couldn't I? And also, I don't understand why that's so weird when most people in the United States are Christian, and they all believe that Moses and all these other like prophets were able to talk to God, but then they don't believe they can do it now, or that other people can do it now. It just doesn't really make sense. I know that I'm pretty sure Neale considers himself a Christian, but a lot of traditional Christians don't really embrace him because they think he's crazy, which is weird because that's what people said about Jesus, and that's what people said about Moses, and that's what people said about every religious person. They always are crazy until like years later when we forget about it and we look at it as like the old days. But it's happening now. I guarantee you, with the shitstorm of everything that's happening right now, that like God cares just as much about us right now as he did in 0 BC. So I started meditating a lot more, and when I would meditate, I felt more in touch with myself, and it was mostly just a practice. But I had an experience a year ago where I dated someone who, it just sort of awakened me in a weird way, where before we got together I predicted it, and all of these weird like some may say it's a soulmate. I actually don't know anymore. I used to think that it was a soulmate. But because I'll just say I believe that the word soulmate is really confusing because people use it as like, you're my only one or whatever, but anyone can be anyone's only one. But there are some souls that feel more familiar to you if you've had similar histories, if you have a similar blueprint. And there are groups of souls that all have a similar blueprint or a similar thing to do or purpose on Earth. But I had an experience with someone where, whether they were a soulmate before or whether they were just like a divine appointment for this life, everything, like God started talking to me all the time. I thought I was insane. Like, but it would be like I would have a dream and then something would happen. And I would feel funny and something bad would happen. I would feel anticipation and something good would happen with that person. And it was weird. And I thought, this must be love. Maybe it was at a point, but it's definitely not now. Because love is everywhere. Like, you could have love with anyone. You can have love with yourself. Love just literally is just the energy of Earth. That wasn't love that I felt. That was God that I felt. That was something about that situation I was supposed to learn. And it's made me a stronger person. I'd like to think it made him a stronger person too. Not so sure about that. We don't have control over other people. But something about that was just fated. It was fate. And I literally heard a voice whisper my name. Like one night, or one morning as I was waking up. And I was like, okay, I can't deny that this is real anymore. Like, I started doing like tarot cards, and I would predict things with tarot cards. Not that great at reading them, because I got in a trap where I was reading them just to like prove to myself that my intuition was correct. One of my good friends, there's different types of psychic gifts. There's clairvoyant, clairsentience, claircognizance. I don't know, I can go into those in another video, but clairvoyance is clear seeing. It's when you see literal visions, and my friend would have those, and I never really had those, but I literally believed she was psychic. I didn't really see my psychic gifts until later, and it was weird, like, I sort of would believe that she was psychic, but not believe in psychics. I still, like, a psychic is only as smart as the person, like, anyone is psychic, like, I don't know, that's the whole other topic I'll talk about later, but, I don't know, so, I started watching more spiritual teachers on YouTube, like Teal, Swan, great channel, and Gigi Young, great channel, and I started to feel like I connected with these people, and everything was just ringing true, and I believe that I'm pretty like claircognizant, which is clear knowing, which is you just sort of have a feeling, you just know things, and that's really, like, people that are claircognizant, they don't see things, they don't hear things, and so they just sort of know, and so it's really hard to like trust that knowing when it comes from nowhere. That's how I feel a lot, because I don't have like even though it's still like weird to see something or hear something, it's might maybe sort of seem like proof, and I mean maybe I'm doing like the grass is greener thing, like I'm sure everyone wishes that they had other like psychic gifts or something, but a couple weeks ago though, I literally saw a spirit like in my room, and it sort of shocked me into thinking that I really need to explore this more, or else it's going to start shaking things up. I need to figure out how to control my power and how to control whatever psychic gifts I have, or else it's going to start, God or the universe is going to start sending me signs until I do it. And so, this is me doing it. So if you have any questions, or would like to hear more about something, or want me to send you links about anything, feel free to reach out, and I will email you. I'll even befriend you. I'll even be your new BFF, because I don't have a big enough channel where like I have to really discern that right now. But that's a little bit about my story. I will say though that once things ended with that one person, all the sort of psychicness sort of died down, which I thought was weird. Like, it's like all of a sudden the signs stopped coming, and I knew that it was time to not care anymore. And then I sort of was like, it sort of felt like a weird dream. I had all those experiences, and then it just stopped. But I think that that's just different parts of life. You're interested in different topics, and maybe it'll cycle back around. And I sort of think that I'm supposed to tune back into my spiritual side a little more and actually make sure I'm meditating and things like that, because I kind of am worried about the world. I mean, yeah. I mean, the election's tomorrow, and whatever happens, it's going to be a little bit scary. And I think we're in for a lot of change. Not to scare anyone. Like, I think it's going to be, I don't know. But either way, it's going to be change, and so we all need to be strong and all need to be loving right now.